Welcome to the Kiwi Mana Bay. Is honey good for your diabetes? This is episode 135 of our beekeeping show.
Kiwi Mana are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitaki Ranges on the wild west coast of Auckland in the North Island of New Zealand.
We produce and sell beekeeping equipment, provide beekeeper services and education.
This week we are discussing if honey and diabetes are a good combo, and some naughty bees make an uninvited visit to the Henderson Police Station.
We also have roving reporters reporting in from North Carolina, Poland, Texas and Indiana. And the show notes for this podcast are kiwi.bz/135. So I guess you're wondering who helped us in bringing the show to you.
This show is made possible for you by our amazing supporters. Every show we read out our top supporters, and on the first show of every month we read out all our supporters, so thanks to you all. But this week we'd like to thank Nathan Buzzing Beekeeping,
Trish Stretton, Lisa Morrissey, Christopher Brown, Greg Parr and Barbara Weber.
Thanks guys.
Yeah, thanks guys, it's awesome.
And this month, Malcolm T. Sanford has reached the reward level, so a little gift will be heading your way, Malcolm.
Oh, look out for that one, Malcolm. Okay, so shout out to our new supporters, Gary.
Yes, big shout out to Mandy Shaw, who is the host of the Beekeeping Confidential podcast. Oh, sorry, that is secret. An all-round amazing person. Thanks for supporting what we do, Mandy, and may the buzz be with you. And we hope your mum is getting better. She's just had an operation, so get well, Mandy's mum.
So what does it mean to be an organic or natural beekeeper? What do you think, Gary?
I think it requires more work. Generally, it requires more beehive management and more regular monitoring, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what we're trying to share with you in this podcast, what we've been doing and what we're up to. And last show we discussed how to manage space as we came into summer. The weather was definitely hitting some highs, 32 degrees Celsius, and the lowest went down to 6, so quite a range there. We've now reset our outdoor temperature gauge as we now move into January so we can monitor changes. Our native kānukas were flowering heavily and are still flowering but starting to lose petals.
Yes, we joke about that being our Christmas snow, don't we? All the white flowers.
Yes, we do. It's definitely something that happens, but it happened a lot later this year.
It did.
Yeah, and the flowering kānuka means our honey will be awesome, very thick and rich in taste and close to its cousin, the manuka tree, or tea tree as some call it. Oh, and by the way, our native Christmas tree, the pahutakawa, is losing its blooms too.
And how have the bees been behaving lately? I mean, they've been very busy, I've noticed.
Yeah, with this weather it means that the weather has also been, as we said, it's been very warm, but we've also had some rain with those warm temperatures, so this has seen an increase in reflowering of some plants. One being our clematis vine, it flowered before the end of spring and it flowered again. So for our girls here at Kiwi Mana HQ on the west coast of Auckland, New Zealand, there is extra nectar available, so has seen increases in nectar collection.
Yes, and what have you been up to in the yard then to keep things on an even keel?
Oh, basically managing space through the rest of summer is a key jobby, and along with monitoring brood health as AFB could be present, so that's ongoing. In my view, the top 3 priorities is to keep on top of population growth, AFB checks and managing nectar collection.
What's been the results of all this work?
Well, our nucleus colonies are growing really quickly. They've got new season queens. Those colonies are a combination of Carniolan and Italian mix, and they are really amping up with populations growing really fast, and also they've come up to filling a second full-depth hive box. So last inspection, they seem to be more focused on brood production, around 15,000, but now risen up to 24,000, so a lot more frames of brood. And these figures don't include walking bees, so there's a heap of population in there.
Yeah, I noticed some of the hives have got a lot of beating as well, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And I put that down to last week. It was 40 degrees out there, and it was really, really hot.
Yeah. And how are you getting on with the older colonies?
They were given oxalic acid vaporization treatments to keep knocking back that blimmin' Varroa destructor, and the results of which has seen healthy, well-formed bees, healthy larvae and cells, and all the population strong. One colony was so strong, which was the one, do you remember the one that blew over in the storm that we had, and I merged it with a weak colony? Yep. Well, that one is going really bananas, I tell you, really. Banana! Yeah, and awesomeness. So have split that. I think that was my best option for them because I didn't want them to get too big because I just can't manage such a big colony. So we're waiting for the queen to come into being, as it were. And the second smaller colony has come into its own and the population has really increased, and I need to do another inspection. And
people have been extracting honey before December, I heard?
Yeah, I heard the same.
But we haven't yet.
No.
Okay.
So some of them are saying they're on to their second extractions.
Wow.
So that's amazing, eh? And the honey flow has been huge. In fact, I think it's going bananas. What we're working our beekeeper activities at the moment is, what's it doing? What are we doing in Kirimana HQ there, Gary?
Oh, well, I'm personally doing a lot of scrub cutting, but, what are you doing?
That's right. And I'm going through and planning to inspect all the beehives and just check their status and laying space and adding extra frames as I go along. And in the education apiary, I've been a bit neglectful of this one, so I have to go and get this one checked, and those are three-quarter frame colony boxes. So I hope no absconding has been occurring due to my neglect of them.
Okay, so when are you going to go and see them? Soon?
Yes, soon, over this weekend actually. And nucleus colonies, well, they've all grown into 2 full-depth 10-frame Langstroths, and they are ready for beginners to pick up. And what we do here, you know, Gary, that we offer pre-purchase inspections so they can see what they are getting. And it just, by having a fully working hive to start, it gives them a really good start. And then their biggest challenge from there will be to keep their Varroa under control and get their beehives through autumn and winter. And with this kind of build-up this season, all the colonies are performing really well, and so I don't think there'll be any issues with having good stores. No,
absolutely. No, I agree. I think the real honey is a good idea, and we talk about that later on, don't we? Because we had some comments about that.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I think the honey is the best food for bees.
Yeah, and I think that's a real benefit, and there's no need for the beginners to worry about making up sugar syrups and buying all that sugar in and having to prep it all, then worrying about it going off and all those kind of things. So it's a straightforward feed with honey, and that will give them plenty of resources for spring splits. Awesome.
And how are we preparing for the rest of the season then?
Pretty short things that we're looking at. Our expectations are that there's going to be more capping of honey stores. We hope that the space management will be under control. There may well be some bearding from some of the solid bottom hives. Just building more woodware for the beginners in case they want more boxes and frames. And hopefully my split will be ready, and the queen will be going out for mating.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted on that one, guys. So, what is our mission, Gary?
I think it's to save bees one hive at a time. That's what the number plate says on my card, isn't it?
Absolutely.
By helping you to keep honeybees alive.
That's it.
And it's still summer here, eh? It's very hot.
Oh, gosh, yeah. It's been really hot. And bringing that to mind, what's actually happening around the world, Gary? Let's hear from our roving reporters.
Okay, this week we have Roving Reporters from North Carolina, Poland, Texas and Indiana. First up, we're heading to North Carolina where we hear from Avery.
Hello, Kiwi Mana. This is Avery again reporting from Rascals Apiary in northeastern North Carolina. During the day over here, it has normally been in the low 60s, which is 15 degrees Celsius. But at night, it can drop to the 30s, which is negative 1 degree Celsius. Since it is winter over here, the bees are clustering together for warmth. We are feeding fondant, hoping beyond hope that they make it through. We have already begun insulating our hives here at Rascals Apiary. I have observation windows in my hive, so I've already covered them with styrofoam to keep the warm air in. I am also hoping to get out there soon with our FLIR thermal imagery camera to see how my bees are doing so I can start recording their progress. On a side note, local beekeepers may actually know my name or my family's name. We are trying to be as active as possible in the beekeeping community. My brother and I have actually submitted separate articles for an NC Beekeeping magazine called BeeBuzz in the fall. I know it's a little late to be mentioning this, but it is a very helpful magazine with some great information and local updates. If you go to the NC State Beekeepers Association's website, which is ncbeekeepers.org, and go under the tab Resources, you can actually view the BeeBuzz magazines. And if you get the chance, go back to the Fall 2018 edition and scroll down. I'm on page 22, and my brother is on 23. Happy beekeeping!
I'll check that magazine out.
Indeed, and I love the fact that she's got an observation window, which is what I've been doing this summer.
I know you've been playing around with the observation window, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been awesome, and they've just started to start drawing the comb on the very 10th frame, so I'm very proud of that. Interesting to hear that she's insulating the hives.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's negative 1 to 15. That's pretty cold, eh?
Oh, gosh.
So that sounds great, Avery, and I'll check out that thing. I'll put a link in the show notes, which will be kiwi.bz/135, with a link to the magazine that she mentions there.
Awesome. Well done. Okay. So we've got John and Jeanne from Tulip Tree Adopt a Bee.
They're from Indiana. Let's hear from them.
Hello, Gary and Margaret. This is John.
And Jeannie, checking in from Tulip Tree Adopt a Bee in northern Indiana, USA.
Tulip Tree is a community-supported apiary in the Great Lakes region of the Midwestern United States. We like to think we're Kiwi Mana, Americana, Indiana.
We've been seeing the videos Margaret has posted about all the warm weather you are enjoying in New Zealand, and we're a little envious.
Here in Indiana, all our hives are tucked in for the winter.
As hobbyist beekeepers and educators, we get asked all the time, what do bees do in the winter?
So today for our roving report, we wanted to share our strategies for winterizing our hives for the cold of winter.
This year, we're trying something a little different.
On our bottom boards, we've left the bees with 3 medium boxes. These are the supers that use 6 and 5/8 inch frames, about 168 millimeters tall. These 3 medium boxes are about the same volume as the 2 deeps we've overwintered successfully in the past, but they're a lot easier to lift with my aging back.
Those 3 medium boxes hold about 90 pounds, or about 41 kilograms, of honey and pollen to get our bees through the dark winter months.
Above the 3 medium boxes, we place the inner cover, or hive mat. Then on top of this, we place a 2-inch sugar rim. This is a very shallow box we created by cutting down some of our deep boxes into mediums last summer. These 2-inch rims give us a space to add dry sugar cakes, fondant, or pollen patties without opening up the hive and exposing the frames to the cold. Bees can enter these sugar rims through the center hole in the inner cover.
Finally, above the sugar rims, we've placed a quilt box. This is a medium box with some window screens stapled to the bottom and then filled with wood shavings, the kind used for small animal bedding. The wood shavings provide an insulating layer on top of the hive and absorb any excess moisture from the bees' respiration.
Today is New Year's Day, and we wanted to see how our bees were doing with this new winter setup. We borrowed a thermal imaging camera from a friend and took an infrared peek inside our beehives.
The images are really interesting. They show where the cluster is in the hive and about how much heat the bees are giving off.
We've shared some of those thermal images on your Bees Knees Club on Facebook, so Kiwimana podcast listeners can take a look inside our hives.
We're very happy that as of today, all our hives are showing warm signs of life. Now we just have to be patient until the first pussy willows, maples, and dandelions begin blooming in March.
That's our roving report from Indiana. All of us here at Tulip Tree wish you and your listeners a very happy New Year.
All the best for 2019. Bye!
Wow, that was great to hear from Kiwimana, Indiana, Americana.
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry I said Jeannie's name wrong.
Yeah, no, it was great to hear from them, and it's great to hear they're tucked in. And that sugar room idea sounds like a good idea, eh?
Yeah, and I also like the idea of a quilt level, which we did try, but it didn't really work that well for us, did it?
I think it got a bit damp, eh?
Yeah. I think we probably have a lot more rain to deal with, whereas I guess if it's snowing, it might be quite dry. I don't know, but yeah, that sounds fascinating, and it's really good to get that feedback about the imaging too.
Yes, I'll include a link on the Roving Reporter section with he's got an album there of all the different thermal images, so that's interesting to see, eh?
Fantastic.
And that's what Avery had that last time as well, didn't she?
Yeah. So cheers, John. That was those thermal images will be awesome.
Yeah, and I like the idea that you've got the boxes into 3 mediums, which I think is about the same size as a 3/4 in New Zealand. So
yeah, sounds like it.
Okay, let's head off to Texas. Smithville in Texas. We hear from Jesse.
Hey guys, Merry Christmas to you too. Cold and wet here in Texas right now. Down about mid to upper 30s and raining and cold and dickens. Hate cold, hate wet. My bees right now, I'm feeding them, trying to keep them through the winter and keep everything going. Anyway, hope everything goes well there and keep in touch. Keep sending your emails. I enjoy them. Talk to you later.
Oh, great to hear from you, Jesse. And cold as Dickens there.
Yeah, Dickens must be very cold then. And yeah, we just wish all the best for your girls as they go through this cool stuff. And yeah, less rain, I guess, too.
Absolutely. And Smithville is a small town between Austin and Houston in Texas for all those geography students.
Oh, okay, fantastic. And so good to hear from you, Jesse. And
great to hear he's enjoying our newsletter. So there'll be another one coming out tonight for you.
Oh, yep. We're bang on, aren't we, at the moment? We're really...
Bananas?
Well, I don't know if we're bananas. We probably are, but there you go.
trying to be organised.
Very good. So the next person we are talking to is Veronica, and she came and visited New Zealand, and we did do a bit of she came and joined me for a hive inspection, and so it was really good for her to be there because she helped me while I did an AFB check. And thanks, Veronica, and we're looking forward to hearing what's happening in Poland.
Yeah, she's a bit of a firecracker, eh? And she's got a really great Instagram account too, so you can check that out and see what she's up to around the world. But
awesome.
Let's hear from Veronica.
Hi, Margaret and Gary, and everyone else on Kiwimana. I'm sending you greetings from Poland. My name is Veronica, and I'm a member of Miód Wasiaka Beekeeping family team. First thing I really need to say is that I'm extremely happy to have this chance to meet you, Gary and Margaret, in New Zealand and spend this precious time with you when I was there. And the second thanks goes to an amazing beekeeper from Melbourne, Ben from Ben's Bees, who made this out. Thank you. And all right, now it's the time for a short beekeeping report from Poland. First of all, I want to tell you about this season, which was so much different than any others in previous years. Just to let you know that we usually start our first honey extraction at the end of May. And this year, we started everything 3 weeks earlier, and it lasted 3 weeks longer. And why? Well, because of the spring which arrived so quickly after very cold winter. The temperature was warm enough and the hives were ready. So although our summer in Poland can be very unpredictable, we have these 3 main type of honey. And in my region, which is Greater Poland, not far away from a city called Poznań, for those who knows a little bit of Poland, It is rape, acacia, and linden. And there is always 2 up to 3 weeks in between each other. However, this year, flowers and plants flourished almost at one time. Blossom of acacia began to bloom when the rape was still on. So the difficulties for beekeepers was to choose the right moment for harvesting and to avoid the situation that the rape honey, for example, could contain fresh acacia nectar. Well, unless you wanted multiflower honey at once. What's more, at the very end of the season, like mid and August, for the first time in our apiary, we had honeydew honey. That was a sweet surprise. That was very dark and strong and very healthy. Check it out. That was a very sweet surprise, as I said. And after this beautiful last honey extraction, we started preparing our bees for cold winter season. And now we've got December. There is hardly seen any of bees activity. The temperature is around 0 and it's pretty wet and rainy, and believe me, there is no sun at all. So when our girls are calm inside the hives, we keep ourselves busy with making honey and beeswax products and preparing new hives and cleaning frames, and I'm actually looking forward to see them again in few months. So that's pretty it, Kiwi Mana. I'm sending you lots of greetings from Poland, and until next time, all the best for New Year time. Wishing you best time with your bees, Veronica and her family from Mute Vasiaka team.
Wonderful. I love I just love that accent. It's just beautiful. And I don't blame the girls not for coming out.
No, but it sounds like they had an earlier season, eh? So
Yeah.
that's good to hear. And a bit of a longer season, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, and some interesting honey that's been produced from these longer weeks, I'd guess.
Absolutely. And it was great to meet you as well, Veronica, when you were here. Fantastic.
Yeah, we were very, very happy to meet you. And, you know, the connection between Ben's Bees and Kiwi Mana and back to Poland, it's awesome.
That's right. Who would have thought that these little bees would have, make us meet people from Poland, wouldn't it? Crazy.
Yeah. It's been just a wonderful thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, and that honeydew honey sounds nice. I don't think we've had that, have we? I haven't heard of that.
I haven't heard of it, so that's a new one on me, but it sounds like it's very luscious.
Yes, we must go to Poland and try this. And I agree, Veronica, timing is everything. If you want to have individual honeys, don't want to have multiflora honey, but I think multiflora is okay, isn't it?
Yeah, but I see what you mean, because if you want to have certain honeys, you have to be extracting at exactly the right times, don't you?
You do, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was wonderful, and all our best wishes to your family, Veronica, and to Poland.
Absolutely, and hope you had a great Christmas, all of you. Fantastic.
Yes.
And do you want to be a bee roving reporter? It would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you can help us create the buzz by being part of the show, guys. You can report in from your location whilst in the field.
Yeah, and we do need some Kiwi reporters from other places other than Auckland, don't we?
Absolutely. Come on, guys. It's a bit of fun and you'll enjoy it, and you'll share with us what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, and if you could record a 2-minute little update with the local weather conditions and what people should be doing with bees, just send that to gary@kiwimana.co.nz and title it Roving Reporter. Or if you look on the show notes, there's a mailing list there which will add you to our mailing list to be a roving reporter.
Fantastic. Well done, Mr. Gary. And what's next?
Beekeeping news. News you can use. First up, raw honey for diabetics. Some potential good news here for honey lovers who also suffer diabetes. Some honey can not only be sweet but also increase insulin in your blood, which is a good thing for diabetics because insulin is used to break down sugars, and diabetics don't have that, do they? And quoting from the article, a common question I get asked is whether or not diabetics can consume honey. It has long been thought that honey should be severely limited, along with most sugars, by diabetics. But this article says it shouldn't, eh?
Absolutely. This article says that the insulin is used to break down the sugars in your body, And being diabetic means your body doesn't naturally produce enough insulin.
That's right. And the article covers 3 different studies into the benefits of honey. And the first study combined diabetic drugs, either metformin or glibclamint, with honey. And then they tested this was on rats, unfortunately, but anyway, I guess it's, and then they tested the blood sugar, and it actually produced more insulin, having the extra sugar and the drugs in the same time. Interesting. So they probably could eventually reduce the drugs, couldn't they?
Yeah, it says that honey decreased hyperglycemia and fructosamine. And fructosamine is used to identify blood glucose concentration over time. And the 2 drugs alone significantly reduced hyperglycemia, but when they were combined with honey, they produced significantly much lower blood glucose as compared to the drugs alone. That was fascinating.
It was, and it was a study produced in the Journal of Medical Food. And if you go to the article, there's a link to the full study.
And that's fascinating reading, a bit over my head. But what I got out of all of this is that honey is actually really good for you.
Absolutely. I think it does specify it's raw honey, not just your shop-bought processed honey.
So it's not processed, it's raw honey. It hasn't been pasteurised. It's straight from the hive, basically.
Yes, and on a personal note, as a diabetic, I think this is awesome, so I'm going to check it out. As in all things medical, please consult your doctor, because myself and Margaret are not doctors, nor do we play one on the internet, do we?
That's right, even though you did say at the beginning that you said that. But yeah.
That was quoting from the article.
Yeah, I know. My bottom line on this, it says that it sounds like it's great for lowering cholesterol too and the bad fats in your blood.
Yes, that's true as well. I think it's got some good ideas, eh?
Yeah.
But I would read it and understand it, and then maybe take that to your local doctor and see what he thinks.
Maybe go on your own trial.
Well, I think you need to consult your doctor first, don't you?
I said maybe. I didn't say go and do it. I said maybe. Because you said they'd go to their doctor and then they can maybe do that.
Maybe talk to them, yeah.
Okay, Gary, what sort of feedback do we get on this article?
Well, we got feedback from Greg Burns. He's also not a doctor.
Okay.
He says, I'm no doctor, but I'm hypoglycemic, which is the opposite of diabetes, which means he doesn't have enough sugar in his bloodstream.
He goes on to say,
honey is a fantastic sugar source that really does a great job of balancing my dips in sugar and really helps during sugar crashes. Oh, that's awesome, Greg.
That's fantastic.
And Aaron Smith, he says, Greg, you are a diabetic if your levels are low to high. I am type 2 hyperglycemic. My levels are anywhere between 10 and 30. Most people sit around 5. I take pills and injections daily.
Oh.
Ooh.
Maybe it's worth a visit to the doctor and try that one.
Oh, I think so.
Okay, and Lou McKenzie says, honey is a simple sugar. For some reason, sourwood honey can be tolerated by diabetics. That sounds interesting.
I wonder where that's from.
Oh, we'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I wonder if that's available in New Zealand. I've never heard of that. I think it's an American thing, isn't it?
I don't think it'll be available in New Zealand because you're not allowed to bring honey in.
No, but I mean, there may be sourwood forest around and they produce honey from it. That's what I mean, not import the thing.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, so my lips are sealed.
Okay, and what's the next story? It's police car infiltrated by 20,000 strong bee swarm in West Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah. More swarms in Auckland, or was this just a sting operation that didn't take off?
Oh, very corny.
Did you like my dad joke?
Yeah, I loved it. And the quote from the article says, a West Auckland police station was a hive of activity on Saturday afternoon when a massive swarm of bees took over a patrol car. Bee boo, bee boo, bee boo.
What do you mean bee poo, bee poo, bee poo? Sorry.
So this article, the article itself was very short and sweet, but was worth a quick read, and it was quite funny because the puns came thick and fast.
Yes, and we heard from Stephen Stewart, and he said, a misunderstanding on the requirements for drones and sting operation. Yes, indeed.
I love that.
And I just said, I'm not sure if he's listening, but David, are you missing any bees? He'll know what that means.
Okay, and I love those puns. Some that came to mind was the largest sting operation in West Auckland. The hive of activity was absolutely police-driven, and bees misbehaving on police car. Awesome story there, guys, and a bit of fun.
Absolutely, and thanks to the beekeepers that went out there and picked up that swarm for the police.
Well done. I wonder if they got them from the Kiwimana swarm list.
Hope so.
So we've heard from Mark DeQueet from Texas.
I love your podcast. Have been listening to it for a few years. You guys have so much personality.
Thank you.
And he's saying that Dee Lusby will be hosting the 12th International Organic Beekeeping Conference in March next year, which is this year now, isn't it? It'd be nice if you mentioned that in one of your podcasts. Well, there you go. And
it is mentioned.
There's a link to the conference on the show notes, which would be kiwi.bz/135. So if you're in the area, it might be a good little conference to go to, eh?
Absolutely, and it's organic, so I think that's a fantastic start, even just in the title.
And Carl Mortimer from Coatesville, what did he say?
He said, I've listened to all of your podcasts and always look forward to the next one. I specifically enjoy your apiary updates as I live in the area in Coatesville, which is northwest of where we live. And this helps me to focus on what I should be doing and what to focus on at the next inspection. And he says, keep up the great work, guys.
Oh, great to hear that you're listening, Carl. That's awesome. We'll have to grab a coffee sometime.
Yeah, that's great stuff there, Carl. Thank you.
There's a good cafe in Coatesville, isn't there?
Yes.
And we heard from Bee Girl from Instagram. Well, I think she's from Canada. And what does she say?
She says, thanks. Love listening to your podcast and your fun-loving banter. Please let Margaret know I'm most appreciative of her non-sugar feeding approach. I am a firm believer that sugar feeding is not helping our bees be the best they can be. Say that quickly. Anyway, sadly, in our neck of the woods, it seems that fall syrup feeding has become the norm. If you have any links to scientific studies showing the negative effects on our precious honeybees that you could pass along, I'd be most grateful. Many thanks for educating people in holistic and sustainable beekeeping practices.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bee Girl.
Yes, thanks, Bee Girl. That's awesome. And I think we did have some a while back we talked about that, but I'll have to try and dig them out for you there.
Yeah, and I know that there are some unreleased studies when I've talked to, when I heard Michelle Taylor talk about that, but she's doing her thesis, so we have to get in touch with her and see if she has any more updates on what's going on there. So, yeah, that is definitely something we'll look at for you there, Bee Girl.
Funky.
Oh, wow, that's cool. And so we've come to the end of the show, guys. And do you love what we do? Did you find something useful for your beekeeping? Do you want to help us to produce more content?
And it's easy to become a supporter. You just go to kiwi.bz/banana. And also just a note that we use Patreon for our supporter site, and it actually operates in US dollars.
If you become a supporter, you get a mention on the show, Gary.
Wow, and you also get these shows a whole week before everyone else.
Yeah, awesome. A few privileges there.
It'd be awesome if you could do that.
And don't forget, you'll have a warm heart. You'll sleep better at night knowing you are helping the beekeeping community by helping Gary and Margaret to continue producing podcast shows, videos and blog posts. So why not join the Kiwimana Buzz today?
Absolutely. And the show notes for this podcast are kiwi.bz/135. And now it's time for dinner.
Yay!
We've got people coming tonight to pick up bees, haven't we?
Yes, one of the beginner kits is on its way, and yeah, that one will be installed into the lifestyler, which is the long bench hive, and I'll be doing that next week after they've been there for about a week to settle in. And yeah, so I'll be preparing that shortly. Exciting stuff, man.
And just a quick update on the survey, that's going to be closing in February, so we'll have our results about all that, the people doing that survey. So thanks everyone that filled in the survey. It's shown us a few things, eh?
Absolutely. And just remind the folks what that was about again.
That was about a listener survey about the show and how, what they like and what they don't like.
Oh, that's right. Cool bananas.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
See ya.